say aye. Aye. Ayes have it. Consent calendar approved. Do we have a public comment?
There is no public comment I received.
Okay.
So no public comment.
No public comment. All right. Next, we have board member reports and comments. Reports by board member. I only wanted to share that Larky was present at readathon. No comments. Despite the rain, Larky persevered. It was really fun. We had like a video recap of the readathon at the school put together, and Hawk and the mascot for Neil Cummins and Larky were both kind of featured. The kids kind of went crazy every time Larky walked into the class. It was really, really sweet.
And they had the fire officer too.
That's right. Honestly, it's like the whole thing was like a last minute. A lot of things got switched up because of the weather conditions, and there was kind of like a last minute question of whether even Larky was going to make it. But it's kind of like rain or sunshine. Larky's there.
Larky got the day started before school in the playground. Larky's quite good at football.
Yeah.
Like he was participating in a lot of catch.
That's awesome. That's more than one talent. But it was.
Love it.
Yeah, it's.
I saw pictures. Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool. It was. I mean, we were talking about this sort of like how do you get the word on a lot of the kids didn't know who Larky was or affiliation, and I think the definitely the presence matters a lot. I think we talked about like swag and Larky. I think these things will make a big difference to make the library more top of mind.
So Larky definitely for the summer reading.
I think so.
Maybe Larky could have a table at Woolies from time to time. Just getting people
Like on a
to sign
Saturday.
up. Yeah, just
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
just pop, like where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? Remember that?
Oh, no.
Where in Larkspur is Larky?
Larky sightings.
So, I mean, one of the things that's interesting is I remember, like, this has happened a couple of times where we would kind of just randomly pop in with the kids, and we'd see these, the program like packages, like little activity packets and stuff for the kids that, library puts together, and they're awesome, but most people don't know about them. They're kind of like just serendipitous we found out. But if there was like a Larky type of an event, I mean, it could be,
The good thing about Larky that Larky is mobile.
yes.
Larky can be spotted outside of the library. One does not have to stop, be at the library that day
Yes.
to see Larky.
I think Larky on a Saturday handing out just the little
just walking
flyer.
around.
Yeah, walking around town
Mhm.
with the little bookmarks or whatever for the summer reading program.
I like that.
Yeah.
And same thing. Did Larky do Touch Truck?
He did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a spur of the moment thing, a Larky spur of the moment
Yeah,
thing.
just Larky pop up.
Think about how many young families are walking downtown Larkspur on
Especially
Saturday.
on a warm day when
On a
Mags
nice
is happening.
day.
When
Oh,
Mags
yeah.
is happening.
Mags is there? That is.
Yeah.
Well, it's beyond young families too. It's
Oh,
No, everyone,
Every
I'm saying for the summer reading program.
Yeah.
yeah,
Because they get a
yeah.
lot of the young families in the summer reading program. But you're right, like on a
The fifth graders went the craziest for Larky. Yeah.
Well.
Like MVP,
Wait, could Larky attend some sporting events?
Yeah.
Would that be too distracting?
I mean, I was just thinking about the summer reading program, but you're right, like, just for awareness on a Saturday, like on a nice day, these people that are,
Well,
to your
yeah.
point, going to really
Larky
get.
could even go to the ball in September that the Larkspur Community Foundation is putting together, the Rose Bowl. Yeah.
I mean, we have the big parade coming up for Twin Cities. The softball, baseball.
Yeah,
Kind of
opening day.
That could be a key, like, without like being distracting to games. Like that'd be like it's meant to be a celebratory
Yeah.
season.
I love giving Larky some more
Space.
exposure.
Yeah.
It's engaging.
Yeah.
Kids love them and
I'm
older
sure I'm
love
gonna get a lot of great feedback on this when I get home. but yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because also too, we were talking around just ideas of, you can start taking photos of Larky like at mags and do a shoot and
Yes.
Yeah.
save that.
Send it into social.
Yeah.
Oh, Lucky could have a Instagram account.
Probably better than us.
Well, anyway,
Okay.
I think
All right.
back to
Okay.
the, so that was the oral.
We monetize it,
Yeah.
Larky, and have it help fund things.
Lucky's gonna ask
Yeah,
for a
he
raise.
Volunteered Larky a lot.
Yeah, like it's.
Do we have name, image, and likeness on Larky?
What's that?
Do we have the rights to merchandise Larky?
I mean, I hope so.
Yeah, that'd be
You know, it's
interesting.
like-
I would be surprised if someone didn't do that, or they just, I found out the other day I was born the same year as Larky. When I was reading the history of the library.
That could
So-
be, that
You
could,
share a birthday with Larky?
Yeah, we were born the same year.
what could be, it
I'm
could
not sure the
be
date.
a Lucky trivia, you know?
Alright.
How tall is Lucky? When was Lucky born?
But
How many-
It would be a fun contest for
Yeah.
kids to
Mhm.
participate with something different. Like where was Larky, so like spotting Larky,
Yeah.
but then discovering,
Mhm.
like it's almost the lore of Larky, this trivia. Could be
Nice.
great.
Didn't we do Larky one year at the Larkspur wine stroll?
That's perfect.
Yeah,
We got to keep Larky out of the picture. That's the one.
Yeah.
we got out.
So the Larkspur wine stroll,
Correct.
you get kind of all ages of people, right?
Yeah, well, is that
Yeah.
not the target audience?
You have just couples who are, you know,
Is that, Run to the Far Side in San Francisco where people do a 10K in costume? Is there anything like that here?
You mean the Beta Breaker?
Yeah, there's been the breakers, too, there's that.
yeah, the wine stroll's just where they set up wine tasting at different shops.
Right. And you had a table.
We had a
last
table there,
year.
but we didn't have Larky, wasn't there.
We
But he
did
could have been
years-
there.
Several years ago, I know Larky was at, this might have been like 6, 7 years.
Okay, all right, so Lucky
Because
said
the
that.
wine stroll is more, to your point, you get all different ages. You get
What it does is that it will help people to ask questions about what place the library has in the community, what programs besides, picking out a book or having a kids program. It's also computers, it's also classes, it's also having a librarian help you figure how to apply for a job. It's way more than just plain fun. It's tools.
I'd be happy to go
Resources.
on Larky's handlers during the month. Talk about the library thing, or, I think it's,
Yeah.
I think it's, to your point, like,
Yeah.
it's not just the summer reading program, kids love Larky, it's more of
Yes.
all community
And he's an ambassador.
awareness, yeah.
Yes.
I like it.
We are gonna be at the May 18th Bon Air Fair again. That might be a Larky opportunity,
Mhm.
Saturday.
Okay, well,
It's easy to have ideas for
keep the invites
Larky.
coming, we'll see, I can't.
See what
I don't know
sticks.
the consent calendar. on that one.
You can check.
We can have more than one Lucky, right?
Yes, yeah,
So-
that'd be it's very
Yeah.
mobile,
It-
yes.
And it's an excellent volunteer opportunity for young high school
Right,
students.
right,
who
those guys
have
would- oh my
to-
God,
Oh,
who
yes.
have to complete, I hope they still do it, they're 10 hours of.
I was just gonna say the
Yeah.
exact thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
We would,
Right,
yeah,
you need volunteers.
Not
Yeah.
only 10, but
Actually, yeah, let me think, because we do have we actually have almost too many kids asking right now. We had to kind of stop it because we had not enough tasks, but maybe
That's a great
tossing out the Larky, if we had a specific day kind of plan, like the Bon Air Fair.
we need a
Yeah,
Lucky
yeah.
pool, just ask
Yeah.
them to sign up.
we
for
just,
the Lucky pool.
you definitely need a +1 handler, for sure.
You-
Like,
yeah.
the handler is like a real,
Okay,
like Larky can't go solo, you know,
yeah, I guess.
there's not
Visual.
enough, yeah.
Larky
Well,
policy.
maybe a Lucky pool, and then we can just have a Lucky calendar.
Yeah.
I mean, I can volunteer to be
I
Lucky,
love high school
social,
students.
secretary.
Yeah.
I like that. I like the student idea.
Really, really strong.
Yeah.
Because they're they're the older kid, the
Yeah.
cool kid, they influence all the other kids,
Yeah.
and if they're
Mhm.
vying to be Larky, it's just in their awareness.
But they have, just want to say, because
Yeah,
they can say that they're lucky, because then the whole point of lucky
Well,
is
yeah.
being lucky, not
Identity,
being.
yes.
First rule of Larky is,
Yes.
you don't talk
Don't
about
talk about
Larky.
We don't talk
Don't
about.
talk about identity. Yeah.
I like the idea of on air though, and Larkspur Landing, but we're not all set up. Larky's Multi.
You know, like the farmer's market, you could just pop over there one day, one Saturday.
I mean, if you got high school volunteers, there's enough people that are involved in like the library efforts where you could carve out 3 hours to help be Larky's hand.
Yes.
I don't think we have a problem.
Mhm.
But one quick thing, I have to pop out at 6:50, so I'm gonna hand the agenda to someone else.
Okay,
But,
okay.
okay.
So we'll be done by
The
then.
Larky, we'll try to go quick.
Next, we have director's oral report.
Okay, director's oral report. I just wanted to highlight that, we do have one librarian, one position under recruitment right now. And so we had the initial applicants, it's been out a week, we had, 12 people so far. So, it's available even if you haven't graduated but are in school. So we might get someone young and dynamic, so that's kind of exciting.
Is that a larger pool of applications than we've had historically?
Yeah, I was a little surprised, like the circ supervisor,
Yeah.
which Alessandra got hired for, doesn't require a degree. And I was a little worried if she had been working with us, but that was a very small pool, but didn't have limited, you needed a college degree, but, was like a library where you have to have a special degree, so, was surprising, so.
So this position requires a librarian degree.
Mhm. Or in progress to get one.
You're right.
And then we have a kind of a generalist, so we'll see kind of what sticks, what skills they have, and try just to manage with the team, because we're small and we need to kind of do everything. Hopefully they have a lot of marketing skills, and we'll want to embrace social media and some of those aspects, what we're talking about. Maybe wear the Larky outfit, but we'll see. So we're excited, to fill that. It closes, the day before President's Day, February 18th.
And once we have that person hired, we will have 3 librarians and one
Circ supervisor.
circulation supervisor.
And then we'll have the part-time people, but this would return us to our full staffing.
Great.
For the first time since before COVID,
Right.
or whenever that would be. So,
David, what closes on February 18th? The application window?
yeah.
Okay, and then you go through, then you begin the process.
Mhm.
Okay, so it's open apps until.
February 18th, and then our first round of interviews is scheduled right now for all day on March 5th. So hopefully we can goals to get someone for the end of the year,
The end of the school year.
end of the fiscal year by June 30th.
By June.
Yeah, sorry. End of fiscal year. And, next thing, I just wanted to highlight a few programs we have coming up, just real quick. We got All About Succulents by the Master Gardeners coming up. And the Master Gardeners came 2 Saturdays ago, and we have a new AV set up by the Friends. And so we have basically this with a laptop, and they were able to use it. And so it just upped our game. You can see the visual with the 64-inch TV, so that's been great. We're gonna try some out-of-the-box programming a little bit. A few other libraries have done chair yoga and have been successful. We've had actually more people interested in this program than a lot of others.
I like that.
That will recruit quite a few of the different age group.
Yeah,
And mobility.
yeah, and all abilities are welcome, so it's just kind of giving an intro. Corte Madera did it, and they had
Can I
be
have
successful. Yeah, you can have those around. Tomorrow is the 20th, this is the 20th time, I guess, they've done the poetry reading for Women Who Writes, that's gonna be Bewitched, Bothered, and Bestowed. And so they had a poetry reading similar to like this in July, and there's probably I don't know if anyone here was there, but like 60 people on a Saturday afternoon, so it's gonna get crowded, and downstairs it's kind of all red hearts, and two people have told me this is like the highlight of their year. So, this would be a good program. So those are just,
And it's done more than once a year.
um,
If it's a highlight of their year,
I,
it's
I
much
think
more-
there's something about the Valentine's aspect that they're into.
I see.
There's like, is themed that way.
Is it open? It says read a favorite love poem or one of your own. So is it like an open mic, a slam?
Yeah, you can, sign up to read read one poem. And so we have a
Awesome.
sign up sheet down there,
This is tomorrow.
tomorrow, yeah.
What, yeah.
for-
Oh,
And that's what, as we do programs, it's kind of figuring out the afternoon or there, so, I think, that's really the big highlights kind of going up here. And then we're planning, I'll just say real quick, our summer reading program. We're just starting to plan, working kind of with the friends, getting the programs, we got the theme. So we're kind of starting that. I'll tell you more next month about what we're gonna do. Probably have it by the end of March worked out.
nice. Pass the poetry one back. I want to see where you sign up.
Is there an online sign?
Oh, there's only a clipboard downstairs.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's physical.
Yeah, actually, it's not a bad idea though to have
You have to sign in blood.
online. It's red.
I don't know,
Um,
you can keep this one, that's yours.
So I think that's my main report, unless anyone had any
Great.
questions. I have a few other things in the communication part on that.
So moving to business item, the first item we have is a final review of the annual report.
And so I think I included that letter, from Andy in your packet behind the minutes.
Yep.
And above the.
Yeah, I think I just made the changes we had talked about. I got one or two things that I changed, but
Do you have any other feedback or edits on this?
Quickly reading, make sure we
I
didn't
read
fail
it
somebody.
when I sent that. I thought it was good.
Yeah.
That was,
Thank you, Andy.
Yes.
yeah.
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 Thank you, Armel, too. She actually gave me a couple.
Yeah, that's good.
Thank you.
You drafted it, that's the most difficult part.
Going from a blank page to paragraphs.
Yeah.
I can't remember, for some reason I thought that the library director forwarded it to the counselor, or did we actually send it?
Yes,
I think, based on my understanding, you send it to the city clerk, and then the city clerk
That's how
just
Allison's list.
that makes
Yeah.
sense, yeah.
would
I knew
distribute
I
it.
knew we didn't send it directly to the council, so that makes sense.
So the next step on this is,
we need to
you
approve
can
it.
send it to Allison, or if you wanted to have me send it on your behalf, I could send it to
Yeah, you
Allison,
have the finished version, so if you don't mind.
sending
on
it,
behalf, I would
Okay.
like it. I knew it went to someone. Still makes sense.
and then I'll let you all know if there's some
Thank you.
sort of feedback.
Yeah.
But I'll send this file
perfect.
as is.
So,
Thank you.
motion
Oh.
to approve the final draft. For 10.
Second,
Okay, great.
All right, everyone.
All right.
Aye.
aye,
Okay.
Oh.
Ayes have it again. Here we go. Second item is communication plan and discussion.
Okay, so here also in your packet, I just did a kind of a quick draft communication plan, and we're a small office team, so I had to kind of always remember that. I tried to phrase things into four main goals. So you kind of see there, I wanted to raise awareness of library programs and resources, basically, is the first goal. The second one's to really focus on promoting summer reading. And I know you had a lot of ideas like sandwich boards and things like we're talking there. I didn't quite put all that in here, but I will if you get after you get your feedback. I want to review our existing tools, and then lastly, kind of get a way for the community to give us input. So under like raise the library awareness, I want to give an update. Last week, we had our first meeting for the library newsletter, so that is underway.
Awesome.
They took some input and they're gonna do, the graphic designers are gonna start their work. We think we can launch it by May. So I'll keep you updated on that. We're kind of waiting for them to come back to us. We don't have a style guide or official colors or some of that stuff like some organizations have, so we kind of gave them a little direction.
Did you give them a picture of Larky?
We
I mean,
talked,
I don't want
Oh.
to be funny, I just think that
The-
we do have Larky, so if we remember Larky's yellow, so if we can just get at least that yellow to, any yellow they use could be a Larky yellow.
and we have a little yellow in our logo, you know,
Yes,
too. We did
right.
talk about incorporating Larky possibly into identifying children's programs somehow as a verbal, so that would be kind of the cue, you know, this is the children's section. So we'll see what they come
But
up with.
we already have a font in Larky, there's some on the whatever, we have a font that is used, so those are big beginnings to use, and if it needs to change, it should be changed across the board. So if Larky becomes different yellow, or if they pick, just so that it's cohesive.
Yeah, that makes sense. And we want to make sure it's accessible and compliant to,
Yeah.
that was another thing. We're also gonna release a Larkspur Recreation Department brochure this summer, so that's gonna get mailed out to folks. And so we're gonna have a little section in there with our programs. That's kind of underway right now, and they want to get our draft by the end of the month. And this is where if you had any more outreach opportunities, like we kind of have, you know, 3 there that we're gonna do, you know, we did the wine stroll, you know, last year, so that could also probably go here. But, the Heart of the Larkspur will go to the Marin Commons Foundation, and it's having a library director welcome at the TAMP with Catherine Way. And so we're gonna talk about the new building. I think Commons is gonna do a soft ask. I think it's gonna be like a little wine and cheese event up at the TAM, and you know, we do like weekly deliveries to the TAM. And so we have a strong partnership. We're starting our TED Talks back up there, so we're kind of building that up. One thing I realized we didn't send calendar announcements to the IJ. So we're gonna start just emailing IJ, and we have this event.
Yeah.
And we realized that with the Lions Dance, all the other libraries that said, go here for the Lions Dance, but we actually had the first one, but we don't email, so we'll start to do that. The city's gonna fund an Instagram campaign for us on a program of our choice. So we'll see which one there.
Do you have a budget range for that?
They, probably in a few $100s. It'll be kind of modest. So it's probably gonna be the summer reading program and try to, you know, do something there. We're also trying to incorporate QR codes more in our flyers. So this is one
Great.
example. So like there's one book, Tom Lake, that's really popular. It's available on Hoopla. So we put a QR code so it goes directly to there. So we're gonna start putting bookmarks, you know, trying to figure out strategically how to do that. And so you don't have to wait, you can just get it immediately. That's the first one we just did, because I think just by talking about this in staff, you know, staff say, hey, let's do this. And then we're also just trying to figure out, you know, incorporating the mission statement, and then just working, our friends and foundations want us to try to increase their visibility. So maybe redoing that entry across from the display case in the library, just so they have something that's a little more visual to see what each group does, because I think there is confusion about what each group does and support. When I met with each one, they wanted a little space. This month, we're featuring the Larkspur's Foundation down there, and they have everything they've done. Next month is going to be the Commons in the display case. So
It is wonderful. I have been asking for this to happen for at least 4 years.
oh, good.
To have a graphic just saying, what is everybody doing and why? It is, and this is wonderful, because the Larkspur Community
Yeah.
Foundation does a lot, and then you can just
Oh,
see it.
it's great, yeah. Go rotate through, it's putting the space to good use.
Yeah, it's a good promotion, because a lot of people come in here, you know, we have a pretty visible,
Yes,
window to the community, so.
yes, that is, I'm very pleased with that.
And,
I did have a
Oh.
question about those bookmarks.
uh,
Was the Larkspur, the Library Foundation approach for that? Because I know that they've done them in the past.
we still have some of those Larky bookmarks, and I've only had one meeting with the Library Foundation, so I haven't really approached them. This is more ones we're kind of doing to try to, make people interested, but that's a good point, because that kind of ties into the other of collaborating with groups. Maybe we have a Library Foundation with the QR code, go right to them.
And
or
that's something
something.
they've done in the past,
But
so
didn't they
there
do
might be more,
Didn't you say they did the summer reading ones last year?
yeah, they did
Oh.
the little ones that we have. So that's something that they've done and they like to do, so
Okay,
it might
Was,
be.
was this the topic last meeting or recently that we talked about letting kids try to design a contest and select one for the bookmark, right? What is the bookmark, right? And I thought that was a gangbusters idea.
yeah, maybe I'll put that on a longer term one, maybe.
Well, we should
Yeah,
definitely
together.
engage with them if they've already done it with the summer reading program. Be easy to,
Let-
Well, they
What-
would be funding.
yeah, that's what I
They
mean.
wouldn't really be
Yeah, no, they would be,
designing, so
they'd
it
be
could
funding
be that
but they did,
they would fund the contest.
Yeah,
And the final
and you can
product.
give them some press with, they would have, didn't you tell me they had on one side, they had the community foundation? And one was a summer reading, or weren't we saying something where
We were talking about
we
doing
could
that, like,
promote the
one is your
organization?
design and the other one is promotional for like programs.
Programs, exactly.
Program.
I love that.
But in terms of getting the money to do
Yeah,
it,
exactly.
the Library Foundation has funded bookmarks in the past, and they might be open to fund new bookmarks.
Yeah, I'll talk to them March 13th, their next meeting, so I'm gonna go to them with a few funding requests, so it's a good reminder, and then we just have to figure out the logistics of the program and so forth, but that sounds good.
When is the next meeting, March 13th?
March 13th. Second Wednesday in March. I'm off the date. They kind of promote summer reading. That's gonna be kind of a shorter term thing. I think typical to what we've done before with some of the flyers, and then we're gonna do the class visits. Again, with Corte Madera Library, probably. Maybe Larky can come
Great
for the
thing
day.
for Larky to promote.
Yeah. So that's usually in the end of May, I think. Or they did a school assembly. I'm not sure what they did last year. And I think a lot, cause we're new here, we wanna also just look at like what we're doing. So we wanna review and update our existing communication tools. So, we started working on an email quick response template just to make staff efficiency. So that's something we've got going. We use BookSizzle now for promoting. It's not really for promoting, it's really a book recommendation, but we kind of fit it in.
What is BookSizzle, Damon?
We use it as our kind of newsletter, but its real intent is to provide book recommendations. It's not really for what we use it for. It's more so it has pre-done reading lists, and we don't really use it in the way it's designed. So after we get our real newsletter, we'll see if people still want it. And then we have 1,300 subscribers, which isn't bad. But there may be still some use for it for people who just want to get like book recommendations. And so you could pick what are like the great books for fifth graders right now, or what's the hot new fiction, biog, whatever. And so it could be quick. So we're gonna look though if we want to renew it or.
Give us the analytics on like how opening rate and engagement stuff on that.
Yeah, it has a little dashboard, and we can kind of pull off that data. I think people look at it as a newsletter though, and that's what's engaging them to see our programs more than the books, but we do have, I think it had like, last time I looked, like about 50-60% open rate.
And
We send it on
it's every
Friday.
Friday, right?
Yeah, Friday at 4, which I would maybe switch. At the county, we started to do Tuesday afternoons for our newsletter. And we got a higher open rate, but
Interesting.
Book Sizzle is the weekly email,
Yes,
Mhm.
and when you said a subscription ends June 30th,
Oh.
what subscription?
We pay, the Friends pay the subscription for it to.
For this mail
this-
service?
For mail service, yeah.
Got it.
And so when we use the newsletter, we're gonna feed off the city's MailChimp account. And it is like 600 or 700, I'm not gonna be off on that, but it's in the hundreds. So it isn't that expensive, but it isn't that dynamic either.
so you would be thinking of discontinuing Book Sizzle?
Possibly looking at it, I mean, if people like the books and they're kind of clicking, if it's meeting that need. Like at the county, we kept it because there was like 50 hardcore people who really, that was like the thing, it's, not bad. So, and then kind of also review our website and social media and just print materials a little bit. You kind of see our slides, it depends who does it. We don't really have a style guide, and it's mostly in Canva, which isn't bad. The new newsletter should feed through Canva, so we'll probably use Canva more.
Is it an on-staff designer or people that do it?
It's basically either Teresa, it's whoever does the program, does their own flyer in Canva.
Is that an opportunity for a high school kid to volunteer? Because a lot of them have some graphic chops.
I think if we could and figure out what we have, if we got the right person, I also thought originally like maybe a College of Marin student. If we got them and we want to make sure they're reliable when they
Yes.
come, and they were committed and that sort of thing. And if like we knew this teacher recommend it, not more than like the kid who comes, I need 10 hours
Right,
tomorrow.
yeah,
Some of our kids are really good and others are,
Yeah.
they don't really show up.
yeah, it's a supervision, sometimes it takes more time to actually get them to do it than to do it yourself.
But what would be great is if we could find one of these kids, because at the county I had one who did our logo and give them the vision and they could set up. I think they could really help us like with templates or visuals, or like this probably isn't ADA accessible
I
either.
mean, for what it's worth, if we're doing, I mean, obviously for the stuff that's like lighter weight and flyers and stuff, I totally agree. But like if you're doing more heavy type design stuff, I'm positive we can get some very professional, great A-grade like volunteers in the community. Because that's what happened. Like we had a facilities, thing for the school, and we had incredibly like well qualified, architects and engineers that came in and, were masters of their domain that came in to help out. So I think we could get a lot of talent in the community to help out.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that when I was at Corte Madera, I had a volunteer who was retired Bank of America marketing person. And he helped do like some contact homeowners associations. And within, a lot of guys, he could really run with it. But I think if you found the right person, it would be really good. But I do think there are a lot of talent with these digital tools. A lot of kids can do so, especially maybe some
It's amazing.
like AI with someone's digital logo.
but you nailed it on the head with the students, is that they're here and then they apply for college, they have no longer any time, or they're gone, so it's a reliability that is more difficult. Well, if you have an adult volunteer who is a resident, makes it, a point to just, I'm gonna do one thing for my community, I'm gonna do their flyers. It's something that you don't have to chase, you don't need an extra.
Yeah, sounds great.
And
So just for the benefit of time, can we open it up a little bit? I know you had this last piece, maybe you want to quickly touch on it?
Yeah, and then basically they're to have some sort of mechanism to get input from the community, just to hear what people, not just our
Could
talking.
you do like I'm not a tech person at all, but can you do a QR code that brings you to a survey?
Mhm.
Of course.
We could do that.
Easily.
That'd be pretty easy.
I mean, I know how to run a survey monkey, that's about it.
You can get them there with QR.
You get the hyperlink.
That's exciting.
Yeah, anything can be. So I mean, so here's my overall thought on this. First of all, thank you for taking pen to paper on this.
Yeah.
This is really like helpful to just get us going, and we kind of made it a singular focus for the board, so this is like a living, breathing thing that we can kind of come back to every meeting for the rest of the year. I kind of thought it would really be clarifying for the board and you to just come to some sort of a like a real, what does success look like for us? Like, we really, really did our job and communications got better, right? And what would that mean for us like 12 months from now, right? What would we look at and say, okay, you know, we can high five each other, mission accomplished, right? Because I think that's gonna really help. And you started this whole thing saying, please bear in mind, we're very limited on resources and time, which everyone appreciates. And I think that like lets us really get to like the core of what we're trying to move. And I do think like the communities, obviously, you know, the message or the medium is just gonna mean different things on who we're trying to reach, who we're trying to impact and engage. Anyway, I just thought maybe we can open that up a little bit and get some perspective from everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I think the way you're laying it out though is really good, right? It's like, I think the raise awareness part is really big, and we want to try to reach all groups of people, right? And I think this at least lays that out. Yeah, I mean, I think like from a measurables, it's not fully art or science, right? It's kind of like, are the numbers, are the patrons getting everything they need, but also
I mean,
just like,
but yeah, like this doesn't have to be like a statistical,
Yeah.
you know, like I'm just saying like what success looks like. It could be, I mean, it could be totally anecdotal. It could be observation. It could be
But
a
that's why I
feeling,
think
you know, it's.
But that's why I like
it's
this.
a combination.
I
Yeah.
like the survey concept though, just to try to get some kind of data points, particularly maybe after some of this stuff gets implemented.
Right.
Cause I think
The
it's
survey
a pretty
is only
robust
as
plan.
good as the question you ask.
Yeah,
So in order to ask the right question, you really need to have, as you say, a clear direction, like where do we want to go? Where do we want to end up? And then we ask a question that will help us, you know, figure out how to get there. But the first part is of all these points, how do we want to organize them in the course of the next 12 months so that we have stepstones? Just, you know, do we want to first focus on the newsletter and see how that goes, or focus on, you know, we're going gung-ho on Larky, or focus on Larky. And then we have stacks, and at the end of the year, we have 12 stacks, and we have 4.
and I think it's, from everything like I'm seeing here, it's like a two-pronged approach, right? One is getting out into the community with some of these events, right? The thing at the TAM, part of Larkspur, maybe we do the wine stroll again, the 4th of July parade, like this just more like out in the community. We utilize Larky, right? Like getting this kind of groundswell visibly being out in the community is one. And then the other part is the more digital, right? Some of the stuff we talked about last time of like, you know, getting a better process, the newsletter, the Instagram program, like doing more things that are a little bit more
So if we go
digitized
like,
or visual or virtually, right?
so if we pursue that, then it's like the goal is just the overall increase of participation in the community of all of our programs, whether physically in library or through our digital offerings. So that's like that actually could be we just want like a blanket increase in the participation rate.
Oh, and it's also awareness.
Right.
Right, and I even think if we do a survey, as meaningful as anything is just number of respondents. Because that's like, are we reaching people? Like, there's the message, but there's also just reach. Like, are people even aware of what we've
So we want to reach more people, want to get more people to take advantage of the stuff we're doing,
Yeah.
whether in the library or program or digital. Is there?
I think there are 3. I think it's
Yeah.
reach, engage, and then have some positive sentiment.
Mhm.
It's not just engage, but like,
Right.
they're appreciating it, like there's some positive feedback
Yeah.
indicators.
NPS score.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we want some aided and unaided.
Right.
So, and I think I like the simplicity of, there's in-person events, which is out, there's digital, which is pervasive, and 2 tracks. Are we reaching people? Are they engaging? And are they appreciating? Is there some positive feedback?
But even just having the display case, right, of like the different organizations within our community that help drive what we have access to here at the Larks Library, to me, like, that's part of it, right? It's like this
Great.
whole awareness thing, like, to me, that's why I love the idea of walking around town, of like Larky, and just the creating awareness of like, there's a lot to this, like, we haven't really had something on paper that's a plan. I think you think about all the stuff that goes on and we're trying to do, it's pretty remarkable.
For you, if we were to ask you what would be your priority in this, what would be the step one?
The
I know that
the
you said-
newsletter is, well, the summer reading publicity also, because that's a timed program, but we would do that anyway. We might be more thoughtful when we do it. I think once we get the newsletter, it would be how you could promote the survey, say, to the people, that's what we're gonna, and we'll have, the nice thing with the newsletters, we'll have metrics. We could really see who's opening, oh, we did this, we got more opens, we shifted from Friday to Tuesday, that worked well. So we could come back with metrics, and the other kind of, I guess, digital, I would envision, our programs would be more well attended.
Right.
If more people are seeing them. You can't fully isolate communication sometimes, but I would anticipate that would be one outcome in our social stats
So
too.
you're looking kind of by the end of May, if I'm just looking at this timeline, you will have the newsletter, and then at that point, 3 different things out within the community.
Yeah, and I think also the summer rec brochure, which we're giving information to, they've hired a graphic designer, and that's going in people's mailboxes, another good one.
So what is going to be in that brochure, which is really good because you're not really doing it, you're providing the information. So what information are you going to provide so that we get the maximum information out of that brochure?
They're more interested in our program, so it's gonna be more things like some readings coming, chair yoga, Friday story times, versus like food flow or other digital
Is
resources.
that
Is there going to be any, sorry,
Go
is
ahead.
there going to be any information about the working of the library? Because I'm thinking, not only do we have the library that's running, we have a brand new building that is still collecting money for the outdoor. Can we put a plug in it saying, for our 3 organizations, can we start laying out to the public who's very confused about those 3 organizations, the basis of just, you've got Library Foundation that funds programs, you've got the Friends who also fund programs, and you have the Common that will fund the physical building.
I think the brochure it won't work, but the newsletter we will be able
Yeah.
So we
to.
can.
So if I'm
Yeah.
thinking of the brochure correctly, it's like, you get it, it comes from Larkspur Rec, and it'll have like basically a timeline of all of the different events that are going on. So it'll be like June 10th to 14th, like summer camp with,
Right,
blah, blah, blah.
It's more calendar.
Yeah, like
of
lists all the
activities
different,
than-
so I would think it would say like, June, like Larkspur Library Program, blah,
Right,
blah,
right,
blah.
right.
Yeah, and we'll have our own 2 pages in there.
Yeah.
This is the library.
Maybe we
Right.
can thank the supporting organization in it.
So the one thing I was gonna say before I take off, maybe we can continue this in the next meeting. I really would, I would champion for us to codify the kind of collective view on what success is. And I think it's totally fine for it to be a combination of, like if it's just simply, it's about reach, engagement, and sentiment, right? That you were describing as like a trifecta. Then we can kind of put some color on those, and if everyone's on board with that being kind of our, the other parameters I was going to introduce, like I don't know if we have like current visibility in terms of how the different demographic leverage different services and programs that we offer, and whether there's a specific thing we would like to see differently. I know for a while we were trying to go after teenagers, but then, maybe we thought actually it's like really hard to engage them, and, maybe this isn't the year for that, and, we wait for a new facility, which is totally, so it doesn't have to have, but like, even that's another note, like, do we have sort of concentration of pockets of the folks in the community that are very engaged, and our reach is particularly like within those subgroups? Are we happy with that? Do we want to stay there? Do we want to broaden kind of usage more wider?
I thought about what you said, that I do think that we have to, what I would recommend would be that we use these two groups that we have, which is one, the very young, and the more mature, who come to the chair yoga, the lectures on succulent, the book group, the poetry group, or whatever. And then rely on those, or found our actions onto their presence. But with the goal to, once we have them fully on board of what we do, to just move on and then go for the teens, for the young adults and for the younger, just so that we make sure that we cover everybody. We just don't specialize in toddlers and specialize in retired or more mature.
Yeah, it's like a gap there.
Yeah, and for now, we have so much to do, and we have that new facility. Let's not lose the one we have. Just get to know them and get them to know us very well and move on.
Yeah.
From that, especially that with age, nobody stays in one
I think
category very long.
it's such a huge step forward for us to have this sort of level of, I think this game plan that Dana's put together, just like the clarity of, when we look back, like having, if we really move the needle on those three things, it's pretty impressive, which we want to baseline obviously sooner than later, so we can.
Yeah.
Well, I'll work on something for our next communication update, taking in the, reach and engage and positive sentiment, maybe a few of these other concepts of, like data points with the newsletter, and kind of present that, we can kind of flesh that out a little bit more.
Awesome.
And then also informally, if you hear of anything, like this is the event to go to, just let me know, or we'll try to get to it.
I was gonna
So I
say
think-
the Larkspur ones.
Aaron, thank you so
Okay.
much. This is
Oh.
such a cool, I'm gonna hand it to Armel.
Oh, you're vice
I'm
chair.
just- Yeah, yes, vice chair steps in.
The fire.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Amir. Thanks, Amir. Carmel, are you gonna need to sit next to me?
Yes.
Okay.
I need to.
No, Steve.
Oh, I was
Thanks,
about
guys.
to.
This is,
No.
Damon, you really brought such it's really wonderful collaborating. Thank you.
Thank
So
you. Yeah,
last
no,
year,
it's,
last year, the wine
For
stroll
the
was in
record,
September.
Amir left, and Armel is gonna take over the chairing
Thank
of
you.
the
See you,
meeting
Amir.
Bye-bye.
at 6:34.
I was just saying, last year, the wine stroll was
6:51, darn.
in September.
I think it was the second, says Saturday after Labor Day.
Yeah, Saturday, September 9th,
Yeah.
which I say I'm happy to be Larky's handler, and I'll probably be at a soccer and baseball game that weekend. High probability I won't be here.
So why don't we each think about events that we can put, a community event that we know about that would be appropriate, or either a Larky appearance or one of the groups to be there, so that we could always have, the friends are very eager to go and to help being out in the community. So
Yeah, the friends are looking for kind of opportunities to volunteer and support. They said that at their last meeting, so.
So if we each think of events that we know about, and then we can make a list and submit it and see what's doable and what's not. That would be a way to tackle our first point, which is reach. Next on the agenda. I was not prepared. My
I think it's
apologies.
Business 6.3 update on the new library.
6.3, update on the plan for the new library.
So I think the big summary is on, I don't know if you saw the city council meeting agenda, that was pretty much it, where the city agreed to do it, and they basically, not basically, they did fund an additional 4 million out of the capital, so they increased certain pots of money, and they cut the landscaping back to a bare minimum, figuring they could do that later. So it's a, once that contract's designed, they'll get into some of the more details of refining that plan. You know, is that this the exact right? The layout and shape will be pretty much still that. It's gonna be, might be smaller modifications, but the council did approve some of the outdoor spaces. And then as this is going along, we'll see how the fundraising goes with the commons, and there will be like naming opportunities for the furniture and a few things like that. So the commons wants to make sure the first owners are all appropriately acknowledged within the library. And then as that kind of goes forward, they'll, you know, naming a chair or a table or those sort of shelf, those kind of things, they'll work on a plan for that. And the more they can raise, the better. So, you know, might get more landscaping, more there. But the city did give us that extra money to, and then increased funding in each of the little separate areas.
It was nice to watch that link that you sent about the city council meeting where they were so enthusiastic about everything, and to see Ann Morrison from the Commons Foundation and former city council person talking about it.
I agree.
That was really
Like everyone's just excited to get
Yeah.
going. I know that a lot went before this, but I haven't really heard any negative.
that's so positive.
But don't you think it would be easier to do if the building is being built and you're starting to see it all take place? To be able to like get money to come
Yeah.
in for landscaping?
Yes.
Like, that was what
Yes.
my wife was saying, is like, she already knows some people that will definitely donate to
That's-
like.
Once you
landscaping.
see it,
Yeah.
then you see what's
Yeah,
missing.
exactly.
You wanna
That's
get,
really
you wanna
cool.
get on the train, it's
Yes.
like you see the momentum, and you
Yeah.
wanna be a
I
part
think
of it,
you're
you
right
don't wanna
on
miss
that.
out, actually.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, because that taking a life of its own, I think.
I do believe that people are waiting on the landscaping because it's just,
Yeah.
it's almost like furnishing
Yeah.
something that does not is phantom.
But like, you think about where we are and how important like that
Yeah.
landscape and the proper,
And doing it right.
And doing
making
it
sure that
right.
native plants. And
yeah, exactly.
we're not going to be asked to just go and pull them because they're invasive.
Like they did a bunch of planting over near the Legion that was organized through school, like
Mhm.
Jen
Yeah.
and Allison and Jill, all,
Yeah.
and it was all native to your
Mhm.
point. So I think you're right.
Yeah, and the native plant folks are pretty active too, and so that'll be something we can move ahead on.
The succulents crowd should be lured into
Yeah.
this.
We did start putting, they're not really sponsors, but we did put the Commons Foundation on these flyers just because, you know, there's landscaping, garden.
I think it's good. I think that the more we have, the more we do, the library does to promote the work and the logo of any of our supporting
Totally.
organization, and to have them just always be there. It will, they are the ones who are out there looking and asking for the money that can be spent on programs and facilities and new chairs and whatnot. So,
I agree, like getting the community much more kind of, you know, tied to what all
Correct.
these organizations.
That's right.
Just from a repetitive
Yes, exactly.
imagery, right?
So it becomes a common language. It's just the same way that they say, oh yeah, the PTA, the PTO, the
Yeah.
whatever, just words that people just throw out and they know exactly what it is.
It
No.
comes back to that communications
Correct.
stuff we were discussing too, and you see all the different formats given that new structure, and the progress that's being made there, or that will be a good.
But the point that Andy was making of repetition,
And
consistency and repetition.
the one thing that, cause I do donate to the Larkspur Community Foundation every year. And I remember seeing, maybe it was a newsletter or something that they did where it showed all of the entities that they donated to
Mhm.
through the community foundation.
That they funded, yeah.
They funded, yeah.
This is what is downstairs in the
That's what's
library
downstairs, right?
in the case. We
Yeah,
just have
I remember
all-
seeing it, you see like, and it like really resonates, cause I met, I met someone in town who's involved in it, they were telling me about it. They gave Allison that, and I was like, oh, this is such a great organization, so every year I get a letter from them, and send something in. But it's like resonates when you see, right, as a community member, and to your point, which I think you're getting at with like the branding, is like all of these entities do all these different things that no one knows that that's what
That's what they do.
coming from them,
That's
from
right.
their fundraising and involvement. I think that's
Yes.
like exciting and can be highlighted. And that's, I think, I hadn't seen the community founders, but that display is a great way to do it.
Yes. It's,
People feel like they have ownership of this, it's their thing,
Yeah.
they're a part of it.
Okay, any other comment on 6.3? We'll move on to 7. Status report from Library Support Group, Friends, the Foundation for the Commons. Nobody here. We move on to 8. Future agenda items. So we're gonna continue, well, we did say that we would have, communication that as a regular communication planning discussion.
Yeah.
And
I love-
and building update.
Yeah, I like having the building update on everyone, and then I think now that we kind of have like this living and breathing, like we could kind of add to this, put a bullet on, action item, like whatever. I just think this is, we finally have like, this is like a little market.
This is our roadmap.
Yeah, it's kind of like
Yeah,
a
it is.
roadmap.
It
So I think if
is.
we kept this and then we built off it, we can cross things off if we have to, but this is like really useful to me.
Oh, good. I want to reformat a little bit
Yeah.
and get different ideas, but it's really all your energy, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, I love that.
And then I had a typo on the next meeting.
So next
didn't
meeting date is,
Be March 11th. In spring. I didn't pick, on your agenda, it says January, I didn't paste.
I know this is the day I might not be able to attend. If everybody else is able to attend?
March 11th?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so
Okay.
we'll keep it.
Yeah, I can do it.
Okay, that's 3 of you. Okay, so March 11th is the date for the next meeting. Do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll make a motion.
Seconded?
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Meeting is adjourned at 7:01. Thank you.
So, Mark,
What was it that you were-